to start back with another question. Let's see what I got here. I don't want to get too far off script, but I got some other things about this. We'll come back to this for a minute, but I know that listening to what everybody's saying about the one-liners, they get quite a few one-liners, this, that, and the other. I'd like to talk about for a minute your approach in discussing the desire for a review when you're finished. So let's talk about that. How is it you ask for a review? Okay. And then I think I have another question there about the timing. But let's start. And Brandon, because we're picking on you, let's just start at the top because you're on the top of my screen. So let's talk about I pushed the wrong button there. Sorry, guys. The How do you ask for it? What do you say? When do you ask for it? How do you set it up? The whole thing. I've just read some different research on that recently and trying to help our clients get better at this. And
Hmm.
I just want to see what everybody's doing now.
So I guess in terms of asking on site, because we have a whole system beyond that, but just in terms of being on site with the inspector, so our guys, the way I've trained them is, hey, I'm going to finish the report. I'm going to send it off to you later today. I'm also going to send you a link to our review page. It would really help me out. And so I really emphasize the word help because people want to be helpful. And so that's more or less, we'll send you a link. So we email it, we text it, it's all automated through that. And then there's some follow-up that we do afterwards. But I know that that's been a big hurdle for a lot of people. Even I guess when I started really doing it myself and I was doing inspections still, having a hard time getting over that hurdle. It just kind of felt awkward to ask for a review, but once you do 5 or 10 of them, it's pretty natural. But usually I just tell them, hey, we're going to send you a link. It would really help me out. Even when I was doing them, and I don't know if our guys are doing them now, I need to do a better job on quality control on that. But in our driveway speech, I used to bring it up there as well. Like, hey, my job today is to give you 5-star service. I would really appreciate and I hope that we can earn a 5-star review from you. So I'd bring it up at the beginning and then again at the end. And so that would be kind of generally the format that we would use when you're talking about just on site.
Hmm. Okay. And I'll tell you, Brandon, I hear from our one-man shop clients all of the time that they do feel awkward about it.
Yeah.
Even after 5 or 10, some of them aren't really super outgoing, very good technicians and good home inspectors, but aren't super outgoing and they just really feel awkward about it. So I think what happens is their ask is less than perfect, and so the number of reviews they get are a smaller number, and it's a lot of one-liners.
Hmm.
So, so I think people have to just say, listen, we are a business owner running a business. We
Yeah.
have to get over that awkwardness and start asking for reviews. Because if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
I mean, welcome to the world. I mean, how many dates did you get without asking somebody out? Okay, don't tell me. Okay, some of you studs probably got plenty, but the rest of us had to ask. Chad, he didn't. He was probably some smooth talker in high school. So, okay, well, that's interesting. So, Chad, how do you set up the ask? When do you ask? How does that work in your firm? And I know because you guys are multi-inspector firms, Brandon hit right on the head was the quality control thing. Because when you guys were doing it, you control the quality 100%, but now somebody else is doing it on your behalf, and it's not that it's less controllable. So, Chad, I guess the question is, how are you teaching your guys to set up the ask, and when are they asking for the review?
Well, that has been a big, huge problem here because I've beat my head against the wall for I don't know 2, 3 years now. At every agent's office, every meeting I go to, I preach to them how important it is to have their client come. And every single agent around here just tells their people, if you're going to show up, just come right at the end. Don't get in their way. Just let them do their job. And I said, no, don't do that. Don't tell them that. Tell them to come for the whole time. It's so about the only time we can get them is at the end. I mean, there is probably, I don't know, maybe one hand I can count the number of people who have been to the whole inspection this year.
Hmm.
But most people we're calling them at the end of the inspection to make sure they're still coming. So
Yes, yeah.
Wow. So, Chad and Keith, if you're having that problem, Sitzer Burnett is about to cure it.
It will.
You know,
It will.
Sitzer
I see
Burnett
that.
is going to cure your
Super well.
problem on that. It might introduce another problem or two, but it's going to cure that problem.
Mhm.
So Chad, let me say this to you, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but what percent roughly would you say of the inspection that you do that you get reviews on?
oh, it's low, real
Okay.
low.
And so the reason it's low is just because the agents are doing what you don't want them to do. Because I hear home inspectors say to the client, don't come until the end. And that is the biggest disservice they can do to their prior client marketing and efforts. Because when you're there, you can build a relationship. I know I would come home and tell Beth all about these people. And she said, how in the hell do you know all this about these people? I said, I ask them when I'm doing the inspection.
Right.
You know, I talk to them, man. I build a relationship. And so the reviews are very high. And I'll tell you the other thing, Chad, and you may have noticed this too, a lot of the number of callbacks are directly related to when they showed up for the inspection. Because if they didn't come for the whole thing, they don't see how wonderful your team is. They only see the report, the outcome of their work.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
I 100% agree to that.
Right.
100%.
When we look at that all the time, old Doc Jones, when we look at the medical malpractice industry, one of the things about it, they said, you know, they had this outcome that was bad. And they said, why didn't you sue Doc Jones? And they said, because I liked him.
Yep.
Okay. When you have a chance to go in there and build a relationship with that client, even if something goes wrong, they saw how thorough you were. So they're way more forgiving than someone who just read the report. So that really hurts us in reviews. And I think Sitzer Burnett will fix that when buyer's agents are no longer a component. Then you will be able to control your own business. And I'm telling you, this is one of the most exciting things I can get. Whoo, the yoke is off, baby. You know, this is one of the most exciting things, Chad, especially for you and Keith, because the fact, and it may be others too, but the fact of the matter is when you control the how you do business, a lot of better things happen. The complaints go down, the more reviews come up, more business flows in. Life's a lot easier. I mean, we used to have agents quote our price, you know, and I'm sure you've had that too. And we was like, what? You know, then they'd call up and the price would be way higher, and the agent would be pissed, and the client would be pissed, and you know that starts you off on a very bad situation.
Yeah.
So that's it. So okay. So with that said, how is it you deliver the report? Somebody comes, or if they don't come, you just email it to them.
Email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's sad. That's just that's very hard. I knew that those two things without talking to you were going to be low, both low number of responses and high number of complaints. Because, you know, even though you've done a fantastic job and your work output is perfect, you know, so the doorknob was loose. Now they're calling you back because they never came to the damn thing. Okay. Now, Keith, how about
Yeah,
you? I see you commiserating with Chad. So you have that kind of same situation?
Yeah, same situation. Yeah. Most of the time the clients are not there, the agent is there, which is good in a way that we can build more of a relationship with them for the referrals. But, we always, take a step back. And that's what we do in our company. We call back the buyer and ask them if they have any concerns or any questions on their reports, and just try to engage with them. And and most of them would say no, everything's good. It was a thorough report. I understand what's going on. I'll call you if I need. That's what we're getting on our end.
Mm-hmm. And then after you finish talking with that person, do you send them a thank you note?
We do.
Okay.
A thank you email.
Mm-hmm. Remember we talked about a few weeks ago, those handwritten notes,
I know. I wrote that
how
down.
powerful that
I
was.
wrote
I
that down.
mean, yeah, not everybody can do it, but if you can do it or have someone on your staff, like you can get a high school kid with good writing to do it. You can just give them a little
Or
outline
just
and,
get you,
they'll do it. What's that?
just get you to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wouldn't want you to
Where's she
read my
at? She's
handwriting.
somewhere back there. Where's Miss
Best,
Haney at?
yeah, best like hell no.
Ken's like,
So-
no.
Yeah, my handwriting, you wouldn't be able to read what I wrote you.
I want to say something to Keith here because you're doing a follow-up call after the inspection, it sounds like, right?
Right.
So that has been like the number one thing for us to get all these reviews that we're getting right now. I get them on the phone, and right now I don't have a great system. Right now I'm doing it. It takes me about an hour, maybe 2 hours to make, 20 calls or so. I literally call every client. I do it on a Monday. I don't know why Monday, but I just pick Monday morning. I make my calls and I call all the clients from the previous week and I have that conversation. You just wanted to check in, see how the inspection went,
Right.
any questions
Any
you have.
concerns?
Yep. But then I transition it to, hey, and I'll tell you my script, it works every time. Not every time. 50% of the time it works. I'd like to ask you for a favor. We're a small business. We have 5 employees. We rely a ton on referrals, but also 5-star reviews. If I were to text you a link, would you be willing to give us some feedback on our review page? They all say yes. Half of them do it.
But
And
yeah,
then I have a little text. I text them the link. Boom. And so that, like, if you go back and look at our Google reviews, they all come in on Monday and Tuesday because I do my phone calls.
right.
Now, Brandon, are you texting them the link to your Google page, or are you doing the reputation management page?
We're just going since they got rid of the link between the Google page or the reputation management.
And
We just go
Google.
straight to Google right now.
Gotcha.
It's been a long time, knock on wood, since we got a poor review. Our guys just do a good job, and so we don't really have the complaints that you might expect.
Mhm.
If we do, we get enough reviews that we can bury, a bad review pretty quick. So that's kind of the process that we go through, and it takes time. And again, it's not perfect for us. I don't love doing them, and I wish I could outsource it, but at this time, it's a priority for us to do them, and I'm the one that I make the time for it, and so I mean, on occasion, I'll get mentioned in an inspection that I had nothing to do with except for the phone call at the end. They'll be like, even the owner Brandon gave me a call to make sure I had a good experience, so.
And Beth, I see your look on your face. So you got something you want to share with us? Okay. So I will tell you that when you do that, Brandon, you know how successful it is. And I would pop up in inspections different times on our inspectors, and I would just say, they'd show up, they'd see me like, who the hell is this guy? And I would just say, hey, I'm Ken. I'm, the president of, Southern Home Inspection Services, and I'm just checking in on the quality, see how everything's going, to make sure that you're doing good. We have a big team, and I want to make sure you get the service you deserve. And I'm just going to poke around. Anthony's your inspector, whoever it is. If you have questions, it's him. I'm just going to look around and say goodbye when I get ready to go. And they'll engage me sometimes. Sometimes they wouldn't, but they liked it.
Yeah.
That somebody was looking in and going that way. So quality control inspections, dropping it on your inspectors is a big thing too, but also what you're doing, because the owner doesn't pick up the phone and call anybody. And that's a breath of fresh air for people.
Well, and I mean,
It is. Agreed.
the whole idea of making it easy for them is so important, So yeah, you can send an email, but people just get bombarded with emails and nobody reads them anymore. But a text message, I forget the stat, Ken, but something like 95% of people see a text message within 1 minute or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so making it easy for them, asking them if they're willing to do it, they say yes. I send the text, and like I said, we'll get 5, sometimes up to like 9 or 10 reviews between a Monday and a Tuesday after I made my calls.
And Chad, are you doing any of that? Are you calling the clients to try to, after the fact, to try to leverage your review? Branding's asking for a 5-star review. And the way you set it up, people want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with nameless, faceless corporations. I mean, a company delivered a beautiful bottle brush tree today that we planted in the backyard. We could have gone to one of the big nurseries. We didn't. We went to a family-owned nursery, and we continuously do business there, and they appreciate our business. And the owner, one of the employees, the family of the owners, delivered the tree today, okay, themselves. because we, do a lot of business there, and they value that. And so, I think that that's important. So, how about you, Chad? Are you picking up the phone and calling your customers and asking, since they're not there for the inspection?
No, I just made a note of that when he was talking. So that's going to be something we implement here pretty soon.
I think that'll get your percentage of the reviews that you get up, because you're at a disadvantage. People didn't come and see, and they just saw the work product. But I think what people will say is, wow, the owner of the company called me to make sure everything was okay. So even though they weren't there for the outcome, I think you'll get it. And I think what happens is you might learn a few things about your inspector. So when I called them on the phone, I would ask
Oh,
personally what they
yes.
thought of their inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What could he or she have done better? Because they get
Yeah.
annoying, these
She,
damn employees.
she,
Oh yeah. That's good. You don't see many ladies in the business, but that's awesome. I think it's great. But one of the things, that you noticed about was that certain inspectors will get reviews and certain won't. And then one of the things you need to ask yourself, Chad, is if somebody has a below average response rate on reviews, maybe they're not doing something right. And so I would specifically ask the client on those reviews of those that person did get. I would be very inclined to ask that. And I would call up some of his customers that didn't get a review on, and find out, hey, I'm just calling in, a little quality control check. Just wanted to make sure you were happy with your inspection. Oh, by the way, what did you think about your inspector? Did he show up on time? Was he polite? Was he well dressed? Did he let you follow him around? Did he share information with you? Whatever questions you have, I would ask that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I would ask for a damn review.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. And then
So
I
just
definitely think that's
Yeah, because we noticed that that some of our guys didn't get reviews as much. So we started this little review contest, and Joel Jones would always say, "Ken, just go ahead and give me the $100 because I'm going to smoke everybody else on reviews." So I should have just given him the $100 because he did it every time. But if we had this guy's name was Paul, and Paul was really a very good home inspector, but Paul was pretty reserved, and it was before the Right Path came out, and we weren't really, he was a good inspector, and he was a nice fellow, and he looked nice, but he was really quiet. And so when his review ratio dropped down below where it should have been, I always have a talk with him, and I'd say, Paul, I noticed that the number of reviews you're receiving is down a little bit. And I said, I bet you're not talking much with the clients, are you? And he said, no, Ken, I'm not really. And I said, well, the only time you have to talk to the clients is on the driveway. Welcome. Here's what we're going to do today. And make sure that you do a quality wrap up. Okay, just talk to them then. So if you could just get outside your comfort zone for those 2 times, then just be you during the inspection. And when I'd say it to him, when I had my thumb on the back of his neck, then his reviews went up. But then he reverted back to his old self when I wasn't paying attention closely. So, but he was still a good inspector. And the reason I never terminated him because he was 100%er. He just wasn't ever going to help us pull the wagon. So, but he was 100%er. We didn't get complaints on him really. So, he was a nice fellow. He had a nice
yeah.
family. I always get to know everybody's family.
Yeah.
So they get annoying. One of the other things I noticed too, when you have to talk about home inspectors and getting what you want done when it's not you out there, is we would leave a leave behind card with a discount coupon for the seller. Okay, so the seller said, if you're moving within 50 miles of here, we'd love to provide you the same thorough report we did on this home. And while you might be annoyed with us when you receive the report, know that we'll provide you the same quality inspection when you buy your next home. And so we kind of just got right into it, and then we would leave a discount coupon. And I can't tell you how many people we would get from that, but I could always tell which inspectors were no longer leaving it because we had a benchmark of how many we would get. Okay, so setting up KPIs or key performance indicators for individual metrics. And one of them is reviews received by an inspector. In other words, how many reviews did they receive? Okay, the other metric could be how many star ratings. Okay, if you're getting 4 stars on a bunch of people, I'm asking why. I'm going out there to see. I'm not asking doodly. I'm going out there to see it myself. And I'm not telling them I'm coming. I sneak up. I'm a sneaky old dude. Keith, how about yourself on this? the ask, how do you teach the guys this, or the team, whether you get, I don't know if you have ladies or not, to set it up and when you ask for it and how you ask for it?
We ask for it on the end of the inspection. And if you I teach the guys that, if we did a good job for you, would you leave us a review? We're going to send you a review online, via email. But some they do not want to leave reviews. So what I've done is call some of these clients and say, hey, how did XYZ do? And is there any concerns, any questions on the report? Has everything been addressed for you? Any concerns? And then we get reviews on the backside of that.
You know what I would ask if your clients aren't really there, if they're not there? This would be the question I'd ask. Be prepared for whatever answer comes up. You can't be thin-skinned necessarily. I'd say if there was one thing or two things that we could do better to serve you to make the whole process better, what would that be?
But they weren't there, right? They weren't there for the inspection, so they don't.
And I would say that. I would
Yeah,
say that because maybe the
it
report
doesn't
wasn't
hurt.
clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they might point something out that we not addressing in the report, which is important to them that we could address, down the line.
Because you know what we've really just discussed here, reviews are nothing but feedback, right?
Feedback.
So really what happens is if you're not getting reviewed to make your business better, don't you still need the feedback?
It's all about the feedback.
That's what I'd ask that question. Hey, I know you weren't at the inspection today and you just received the report, and I don't know if you talked to the home inspector or not, but I just want to know, because for a buyer like yourself that just came at the end, is there anything that we could do to make the process better for you? Okay,
Right.
now it might
Right.
be a little different setup for a buyer that did come. You would still ask the same question, only you would preface it slightly differently. Okay, because I need that feedback. I mean, I need to know, do we suck? Are we really
Right.
good? Or am I in left field
Right.
or
Right.
whatever? Okay,
Expectations.
right. But
That's the bottom line.
it,
What does a client expect from this home inspection? Because they really don't know from the beginning of what's going on in this home inspection. They think, okay, we're going to get a home inspection, and we're going to get a reduction in sale or cost of the home, and that's where they're thinking down the line. What can this inspector find that can help me negotiate this offer? It,
I think it's two things.
that's the bottom line of this.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think it's two things. I think that you're on the money for sure. But for Beth and I, and we bought a lot of homes together. I mean, it is about the negotiation thing, but that's a secondary thing because we plan to live here. Okay, so what is it that I need to know before I plunk my money down? That's the primary thing. What are these issues?
Right.
And the secondary issue is if it's something that's going to be expensive, I'll negotiate it. But I look at that list and I say, hell, I'll fix all that. That's no, I'm not going to argue about that. But those big things, that's it. But the first thing I think about, and I may be atypical, is I'm going to live here, man. I want to know what I got, and I just see when people that didn't get a home inspection, they have tremendous buyer's remorse on these properties because they didn't know what they were getting. I mean, the money was secondary, but now they're just stuck with these headaches.
But whose fault is that?
Well, I mean, there's no fault. I mean, it's your fault, right?
No,
Because
it's not my fault.
well, they're
It's
never going to
the
take responsibility
agents.
for their own self.
It would be the agent or the client's, education to get the home inspection prior to the purchase.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that
All right.
when you hear marketers say, oh, blah, 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 that wasn't your fault. Yes, it was your fault because you're a dipshit. Of course you need a home inspection.
Right.
When John started in the business 100 years ago, he had to convince people that they needed a home inspection. He had to explain it to them what a home inspection was. We're way past that. I mean, you're under a rock in some outlying area if you don't know that you need a home inspection today. Well, the convention business on that was over, but
Well,
man, that used to be the big thing. What's a
well,
home inspection?
Ken, I mean, when you talk about new construction versus existing homes,
Well, that's a
all
different
these
story. Yeah.
okay, so you know where I'm going with this.
Hmm.
All these new buyers, they're buying a new home, they don't need inspections
It's new, man.
because
What
they
could
have
be
a
wrong with
warranty,
it?
they
Yeah,
have a
it's
warranty,
new.
but they have buyer's remorse
Yeah.
after they
Yeah.
buy it.
Well, that's
So
why
we've
builders
been we've
warranty
been pushing
inspections
a
are
lot
there.
of 11-month warranties inspection
Yeah.
to educate the client. Hey, why, and I ask them, why didn't you buy, why didn't you get a home inspection prior to your purchase? Oh, because it's new construction. They're going to take care of it anyway.
Yeah. Usually they'll tell you because a realtor told her they didn't need it.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. Exactly.
thank God for Sitzer Burnett.
Well, we're going to see how that works out.
They gone. So, John, let's think about it. So you're still controlling your own destiny. How you asking and when for the review?
Most of it is at the end of the inspection when they're telling me, I'm saying thank you and getting paid and so on. And usually they're saying, thank you and you were so thorough, blah blah blah. And I always say, well, my business thrives on these online reviews, so it would be really helpful if you would provide me a review. And most of them say, yeah, okay, but then I don't see it. But then we do have the system set up in ISN to send them the link automatically. I send it, I think, 2 days after they open the report is when I have it time to go out.
Hmm.
So I don't
Follow
know,
up is
maybe
follow
my
up's
timing
important.
can be improved.
Hmm. Yeah, follow up is important. So I think also again, maybe just calling the client personally and
And I do
saying,
call the clients after the inspection. Brandon kind of got me on that a while ago. But I haven't been using that opportunity to ask for a review. Most of the time I get the bum's rush. It's like they weren't expecting the call. Yeah, everything's okay. It's like I caught them,
Yes,
they're
yes,
too damn busy. Yeah, no, everything's okay, just fine. We'll call you if we need you.
right,
And it's a very quick call.
exactly.
so here's how I start that because they don't want to get into a long, drawn out thing. So here's how I started. Hey, this is Ken from Southern Home Inspection Services. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time to find out how the inspection went and to see if there was anything that we could provide you additionally. So they know you've already said up front how long the call is going to take.
Yeah,
Okay, so even busy people will take 2 minutes.
yeah.
Okay, but the reason I like text is because nobody can talk to me for 2 minutes. I get you guys on the phone, and my gosh, I can't get y'all off. And then my day, my calendar for the day is shot. So that's the way busy people are. They just, but if you can preface with, hey, this is Ken from, don't say it's Ken from Southern Home Inspection Services, please. But the rest of it is good. I'm going to just take 2 minutes of your time right now to ask you, do you need anything else from us? How'd it go? And oh, by the way, I know that you're a happy client because we were told that, and I'd love for you to give us a review. However you want to say that, but give them the 2 minute thing. They get it. The 2 minute warning, man.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Nobody's not got 2 minutes.
Yeah, and we send it in ISN. I think we send it twice, like a couple days, and then if we haven't gotten a response, we'll send it a couple days later, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, so back to you. Let's talk about it for a minute. And, what do you say and when do you ask for it? How does it work in your firm?
I used to do the 2 day thing and I just switched it to I send it immediately. So I send the report and then I send an email that kind of goes with it around a minute later. And it's a thank you email. Thank you for your business. If you have any questions regarding your inspection report, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here for you even after the inspection is completed. And would you mind taking a moment to leave a positive Google review? And with the link, click here. I found by switching from 2 days to immediately, I had some success and an increase. I did write down some notes, though. I don't mention it at the inspection. I think there's some value there. I think maybe sending a text request, there's some value there as well, because I do agree with emails get lost, where text, I think people are a little more responsive to texts. Using the word help and just saying like, hey, would it be okay if I text you a link for a review today, later today or tomorrow, I think is valuable. So those are some notes I wrote down. Also to the guys complaining about people not being there for the whole inspection, I would suggest you all come to the Cleveland market because 90% of all my inspections, they're there the entire time. And I
I
guess
too.
it's I kind of would prefer when they come to the end because then I can still go over it with them, spend 30 minutes with them, do the summary with them and all that. They're there the whole time. I think it does take a little longer and it depends on the individual. The ones that go around and they want to stop you a million times and ask questions while you're just trying to follow your template, will slow you down. Um, but yeah, I think I did take away some valuable pointers that you guys mentioned here that's going to help with my increase my reviews. I do have a question for Brandon. What percentage do you think are you getting on when you mentioned Mondays and Tuesdays, you're getting 9 to 10? What percentage is that?
Oh, it's probably 40 to 50%, depending on the week.
Yeah, that's really good. Like I said, I'm like 10%. If I do 30 inspections a month, I'm lucky to get 3 or 4 reviews. So just looking at ways to increase to get that higher.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Joe,
that's
I
something
want go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
we track it pretty closely and we have a weekly meeting with our team. And so that's one of the things that we track is number of reviews, but then also the rate of reviews based on those inspections that week. And so we track that every week, and so I could look it up, but I'm not gonna. But yeah, that's something we track in kind of our weekly KPIs each week. So
And I want to just address this because Joe, you're new to me, so I've been coaching and owning a home inspection business forever. And I will tell you, ask you a question? Do you still do a driveway presentation, have the customer show up, and you talk about what's going to happen today when they show up?
50% of the time, if they show up in the beginning, I say, hey, my name's Joe. Nice to meet you. I said, here's, I'm going to do this inspection. I use a tablet. As I'm walking around, I take photos. Every photo has a comment attached to it. And at the end, when I'm completely done, we'll find a place to sit down and kind of go over all of my findings. And then I say, now's your time. This is like your own private open house. Feel free to roam around. I have a tape measure if you want to measure stuff. So I kind of do have a memorized spiel.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So one of the things I think the driveway presentation is the most important piece of the inspection because you set expectations for the customer. And I heard that you lamenting about the customers dragging you to and fro different parts of the house. And so I'm going to share with you a way to make that stop
Thank you.
and help you out on that. So what happens is I would they pull up, say, hey, I'm Ken. I'm going to be your home inspector today. And I just wanted to share with you how we're going to make this happen. But before we do it, I noticed that you didn't have any concerns on the work order that I got. Do you have anything now that you might not address with our scheduler? And we'll talk about that for a minute. If they do, they don't, they don't, they don't. I said, well, here's how it's going to work. Please know that I'm going to inspect the outside and I'm going to input my findings. I'm going to do the house, input my findings, attic, basement or crawl space slab. You know why I'm doing that last? Because if we have a leak or something, we'll find it. And then I say to him, here's the story. I can walk, talk, and chew gum all at the same time. And I encourage you to come with me every step of the way. However, if you don't want to do that, I do have the tape measure, flashlight, extra every tools that you can go and do those things. But please know this, I work in a routine. So I inspect the way I shared with you in the beginning. And if you're looking at a different part of the house and you see something you want me to address, please know that I can address it at the time we get there to that part of the house, because you know what? Because I'm in this routine, and if I get pulled here and there, I might miss something. Then I say to him, gosh, Mr. Jones, you wouldn't really want me to miss something, would you? And he's like, no, 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 no. Okay. And I said, well, that's the way it'll work. So what happens is when you see something, just write it down. And then when we get together, we get to that point, the furnace or the water heater, whatever, we'll address those issues when we get there. Is that good? And they'll say, that's great. Now, if they don't listen, Joe, when we first get in there, like how many of them don't listen? Most. So then they'll come in there and say, well, Ken, how about this? How about this? And I'll say, remember when we were on the driveway, here's what we said. We said, I'm in a routine. And the fact of the matter is, if I get pulled out of the routine, I might miss something. And you agreed you didn't want me to miss something. So how about doing this? Just make a note of it. And then what happens is when we get around to that point, then we'll go over it in detail. And so I generally never have to say it again. Okay. So I don't get pulled in one direction or the other. Because let me tell you this, Joe, 3.5 hours, baby. It's the Ken show. Ken is in charge. Okay. I don't give a damn if the real estate agent is there. A lot of the agents didn't like me. You know why? Because they're not in charge. And I don't mind pulling them aside and telling them, you're not in charge. Okay. I'm in charge. Because you know what happens? If somebody gets sued, it ain't going to be the real estate agent, right? It's going to be Ken. Okay. Well, guess what? If I'm going to get sued, I'm going to be in charge. So I run it like a precision machine, bro. And that's the way it works. Now you'll get a pesky engineer and they'll keep on and keep on. And they say, I'll say, you know what? If you make me get outside the routine and we're going to go here and there and there, I need you to sign this indemnification that says, no matter what happens, you're not going to sue me. That usually shuts them straight up. Okay. So you got to be a badass some days. You know what? In a polite way. Now I'm Southern, so I say it in a nice way, y'all. But they get it. They totally get it. Okay. And that's what you have to do. But you have to view that customer as potential referrals again from them, but you're creating a brand fan. You are creating a fan for your brand by managing it the way I'm sharing it with you. And sometimes you have to be stern, but that's okay. You're not being impolite. All right. But I promise you that will stop and you'll gain it, because if you have Chad's position, they don't come till the very end. Callbacks go up, potential lawsuits go back up, and reviews go down. Okay, that's just not a good thing. We would demand basically that they come. Okay, from the beginning, because I want you on the driveway. Okay, now in the past, we've asked maybe for a review, say, if we give you a 5-star experience, but I've read some research that said millennials and Gen Zs feel extra pressure from that. They don't really like that. They want you to deliver first and then discuss it with them. Okay, so that I am not a psychologist, please know. I just read that in the literature. More and more people say that. So what happens is, I think that what happens if we're doing a Gen Z or a millennial, maybe we shouldn't do that. If we're doing a baby boomer, I don't think you can say it enough times because they clearly don't get it. So you say it enough times, but that's it. So I think what you do too, Joe, when you follow that routine that I'm talking to you about, that the number of people that will give you reviews and the quality of the reviews will go up. And I promise you, those reviews online are gold to you, whether you realize it right now or not. The more you get, the better off you are. The least hard you have to work, the least money you have to do for new business acquisition. Okay, because at Southern Home Inspection Services, almost a third, and we do $1,750,000 a year in sales. A third of our business came from prior client referrals, and we never spent the kind of money. Now we did market them on the back end, don't get me wrong, but we weren't spending all of our money on new business. So you won't have to do that. I mean, we have one-man shops as clients that never get new business. You know why? Their entire schedule is filled with referrals. Okay, 80-90% of their schedule is filled with referrals. So this is very important, but they run their business like a business. They're polite, but they have to do it. I mean, you don't tell the plumber who's fixing the water tank to come over and look at the water faucet. You see what I'm saying? This is your business, bro. Run it the way that you need to run it to be the most efficient and get more reviews and make more brand fans. The people that have the impression that you don't need to come, they don't get that many reviews, and when hard times come, there's no new business to get, they're out of business. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to think about the customer as the most precious asset that you have available to you. The real estate agent, not so much, but the client, pure gold. Okay, I hope that helps you. You maybe get a takeaway or two from that that'll help you stop that annoying, I got to go here, I got to go here. No, I don't. Unless you want me to miss something. I'm not going there right now. I shared with you on that driveway how we're going to run it.
Yeah, well,
go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry. You've been around me, Brandon, a long time, so Brandon knows this routine.
One of my guys has a similar challenge. He's very kind. He's very nice. And I've had to coach him on that too. Like, just tell him, you got to tell him in the driveway speech up front, first of all, and then not be afraid to tell him, hey, if they're trying to drag you all over the house, like, just tell him, look, he's a little uptight and he likes to stick in his routine, but he's not really forward enough to tell him, hey, take a note. I'll get there and I'll answer your question.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what happens is you just have to be a little assertive on certain things. I mean, I'm always very nice. I mean, I have clients that have said, Ken, are you a home inspector or a comedian? And I'd say, girlfriend, I'm a both. You know, I enjoyed my clients. I had a great time with them. I learned about them. I mean, I probably got 17 or 18 referrals from two New Yorkers that were first-time home buyers buying a big home in Marietta. Man, I did everybody personally in their family. There wasn't anybody in the firm going to serve them but me. And I really didn't, want it. But, the fact of the matter is that's the way it works. I build relationships with people when I'm there because brand fans start that way. You can send them all the emails you want, you can send them all the texts you want, but unless they're sold on you in the beginning, it's much harder to make this happen. Okay. Anybody got anything before we move to the next thing? I mean, I've learned a lot from you guys, what you're doing and how you're doing it.
And not for me. I'm going to jump off here in a few minutes.
Yeah, I know you got the coaching thing. I'm gonna see if I can't rustle up another cup of coffee here in a minute, but how about platforms? Anybody using anything besides Google? I know if you're a client of ours and we're putting you everywhere that could be seen your reviews, but anybody else found any place that's really super good? How about Nextdoor? Anybody thought about using them there? I love Nextdoor. I'm going to offer Nextdoor some suggestions on their platform because they could be such a valuable thing. We call it hyper local marketing. So hyper local marketing means you're marketing in a very, very specific area, neighborhood or subdivision or development. And they could do a much better job to help us with that. And I'm going to offer them some constructive assistance on that and see if they'll listen. Hopefully they will. If not, oh well, they don't listen, but I'm going to share it with them, how you can make it better for our clients. And when you make it better for our clients, you make it better for their users, right? I mean, they're people are looking for local something on Nextdoor all the time. I mean, if you go there, you'll see it. That's it. I think a lot of the other places where we put you are very, very important for two reasons. One, you can get visitors on those sites, but the second thing, you get great backlinks. So it's part of your SEO strategy. So to getting links on that. And I promise you, if you'll put in there the city, thanks for, allowing us to do your Lady Lake home inspection, or, and oh, by the way, we serve the villages as well. And, if you have friends or family there, we'd love to help them as well. So get some city names in there. That'll help you when we're doing some marketing on that too. So there's quite a few other ones. I won't get into them since you guys aren't really hustling those. Okay, we talked about things that we can do to leave referrals. I'll tell you how we do it and how we taught it to our clients and how we taught it to all of our inspectors. We had 13 guys going full time. We didn't do part-time guys, and we had 5 full-time inspectors and support staff. But one of the things that happens, thank you, dear, is that when people are very happy with you, that's really the time to ask. When real estate agents ask me, they say, Ken, when is the best time for me to get a referral? And you know what I say? What do you guys, did anybody ever ask you at real estate agents? You ever tell them that? Have you ever had that discussion with them? The best time for them to ask for a referral is when they hand those keys over at the closing table, right? Nobody's happier than that in a real estate transaction, right? I mean, they might have gone through World War III to get there, but now, baby, you got the keys in the hand. You know what? The deal is done. All right, and that's the time they ask. That's the best time to ask real estate agents clients for reviews.
The moment of peak, what is it? Peak satisfaction.
That's it. Peak satisfaction is there. So here's what we do. Okay, and so here's what we did, and here's what we teach. The fact of the matter is that you have a client that's really happy. You're doing the wrap up, and so so I want to back up and say to Joe, one other thing too is this. Do you get a fair amount of new first-time home buyers?
Yeah, I don't get much repeat business. It's all new clients every time,
I'm sorry. What I really mean is people buying their first home.
Yeah, I would say yeah, there's a decent amount of that. Young couples, those are typically millennial age.
Yeah. So I have always a different on the driveway presentation for them. And I'll say, gosh, I saw in the work order today, this is your first home. Wow. Are you excited? They'll say, yeah. And I'll say, are you nervous? And they'll say, yeah. And I said, well, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to try to relieve some of that nervous tension with you. Would that be okay? And they'll say, yes, please. And I'll say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a lot of information with you today about this home. Most of it's just information that you need to know, but don't freak out, okay? So here's our signal. If I see something that I want to spend some time discussing with you in detail, I'm going to raise my hand. Okay, so I'm going to raise my hand if I need to tell you something that's more important. But the rest of the time, if I don't have my hand up, just, know I'm sharing information. Then you know what they say? When at the end of the inspection, I said, okay, how did I do? And they're like, it was great. And when they say it's great, and I say, what happens is our business is built on satisfied clients like you. And one of the ways you could help our small business grow would be provide us a referral on Google. Okay. So, and then what I say is this, and this is where I wanted to go with you guys earlier. Okay. And if you guys have been with me a long time, you already know this. But the fact of the matter is, I say, you know what? The most effective review that you could give us would include 3 things. Why did you select our firm? Okay. And then what was your experience with us today? And would you refer us to your friends and family? You can answer those 3 things in any way you want to answer them. All I'm saying is that would be the perfect ideal for us. So others would select us like you did. Okay. And so then they understand. Now, what have you done? Let's think about the psychological impact of what you've done. Did you tell them what you wanted? Okay. And you did a great job before you told them, right? So the psychological trigger is reciprocity, Okay, they feel inclined to do a little something for you because you did something great for them. More people will absolutely do it because of reciprocity. Okay, so when they're happy, boom. And then, by the way, oh, here's the things I'd love for you to include that would be most beneficial to people that were looking for a home inspection. So you got the perfect deal. Think you can do it? Do you want to give it a try? I mean, that's a simple way to do it. Why did you select our firm over all others? What was your experience with us today? Would you refer us to your friends and family? 3 simple little questions. Okay. And they'll take that and boom, you can actually give them a little card that says the ideal review contains these answers to these 3 questions. Okay, so now you're getting more than one-liners. Are you going to get everybody to do it? No. Are people going to still send you one-liners? Yes. But have you improved the opportunity to get something other? Okay, you have. All right. Have you ever heard no in your life? Keith hasn't heard no, but the rest of us have heard no in our lives, in one aspect or another. So, you're not offended by no. We're business owners. If they don't do it, okay, God bless you. This is America. I'm okay with that. I still love you. I'm still going to market you. I'm still going to try to get referrals from you. Don't think I'm not. So I lied about the rain. Here it comes. So it just came a little later today. So that's how we do it. Okay. So questions or concerns, anything about that? Anybody want to talk any more about that? I mean, that was just some things I wanted to really share with people because it's so important. What's everybody else doing and how's it working?